My name is Lillian Blades, and I'm a mixed media assemblage artist who work on panel as well as installation format using a wired tapestry type technique where I wire the pieces together and they fall like fabric. My perspective is one of paying homage to my mom and mothers in general, especially Black mothers, and the nurturing element that they have, the way they approach life, creativity in general. That's what I'm paying homage to. My personal connection to this show is very personal to me in that my mom passed during my childbirth, or shortly after my childbirth. And I didn't find out until I was 12. And that was around a time when I decided I wanted to be an artist. And that was my theme because my identity had totally shifted, and I wanted to know more about her, and knowing more about her meant knowing more about myself. And so I knew that she was a seamstress, and she was a hairdresser, and she tiled floors. She was very talented. She smocked baby dresses. She was just super talented, and I wanted to pay homage or continue her legacy, her visual creative legacy in my own way. I started painting mother and child images, and when I was in graduate school at Georgia State, Professor Larry Walker, he was my head of my thesis committee. He said I didn't have to be so literal. So I started to become more symbolic in the way I represented mother and child. And in doing that, I felt like I was paying homage to not just my mom, but all Black women in general who have taken on that motherly role for me, like my aunt who raised me. And she was a florist. Her name was Violet Ellis. She's 95 years old now. She and my Grammy and my aunt, they were the first florists in the hotels. My great-great-grandmother was the first florist in the British Colonial Hotel, and I wanted to include all of that in the work. So floral fabrics kind of bring all of that together, with my mom being a seamstress and the floral element being something to pay homage to my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, my grandmother, my aunt. So yeah, that to me is like just carrying the torch on and pushing it further, and just celebrating who they are and who I am. In the pieces that I have in the show, they're very colorful because I'm from the Bahamas. One is called Bougainvillea. It's pinks and greens, and it just speaks to the bright color that I grew up with. And the green one is about the palm tree, the coconut palms. So I use elements of that relate to home in the Bahamas, as well as like picture frames talking about the memories that I've had, or that I may have lost, because the potential. The frames are about the potential and the memory, the potential and the loss of memory, and also the idea of it being past and future, but it's not present. That's why I use the mirrors. The mirrors for me bring it to always now, which is the most important, being present. And so I love that flickering quality that the mirrors give to the work as well. And I use colored mirrors, so I'm painting with light, painting with texture. I incorporate a lot of jewelry and things that my Grammy and my mom would have worn to adorn themselves, and that to me feels very homey. It's presented in a very quilt-like patchwork way. I use fabric from clothing, especially colorful floral fabrics, and the way the patchwork nature of it is speaking to the quilting from quilts, like ease bend quilts, or like the more make-do patchwork was not perfect, but it's like abstract expressionism. And I'm a painter. I got my master's in painting, and I want to pay homage to the foundation of what feels like is rooted in me, and through sewing, and quilting does that for me. And I feel as though I'm taking that craft to another level. I want to elevate the art, the handicrafts like that my mother and Black women did in general. I want it to be rooted in who we are as Black people. I feel like I'm painting in a more pixelated way, using objects as paint as well. I want to tap into the memories. I want it to resonate with them, just relating not in a literal way, but in a metaphorical, symbolic way that feels comforting, the same way you would feel when you are under a quilt. So it's a visual comfort, and it's very feminine, and that's the feeling that I want you to get when you see the work. I want it to feel good. This is the epitome of womanhood, motherhood for me, what my aunt, Mistress Violet Ellis, did for me. Love your mothers. Take care of them, nurture them, love them. Be the best mother you could be if you are a mother. One word that describes Black women for me is resilient. We got that spice, we got the flavor, we got that offbeat rhythm, we have that make-do quality. I think that that's pretty special.